I'd known for years that Sarah had cheated on me. She had admitted to it twice before. Both times she had said she was sorry and that it would never happen again. But I guess old habits are hard to break sometimes. I really should have seen it coming too. Firefighters have a high risk of spousal cheating since they spend so many nights away from home. It's one of the hazards of the job. Of the 20 guys in my department, half of them had been divorced at least once, 4 of them had never been married, 2 of them were going through trial separations, and the remaining 4 of us had decent marriages. I say decent because we still had our rough patches. Although Sarah knew what she was getting herself into with my job as a firefighter when she met me, I don't think she fully realized just what being a firefighter's wife would entail. At first things were okay. She was proud of her hero husband. But as the years went by, she got tired of me being gone all the time. She got tired of having to do everything by herself and having things go wrong when I wasn't there to take care of them, and she got tired of going to bed and waking up by herself. Why am I married if I'm still alone? What's the point? Were common questions for her. The first time Sarah strayed, it was about 6 years into our marriage. I had put in a lot of overtime, because budget cuts to our department prevented us from hiring more personnel. This took me away from home even more than normal, and I guess it was just too much for her. She found someone who was more accessible, and they had a short affair. The other guy moved on after a couple months, and Sarah came to me shortly after to tell me of her indiscretion. Needless to say, I was more than a little upset over it, but we worked through it and I forgave her. I loved the woman, and I would rather live with her mistakes than live without her altogether. After that we were good for a while. I cut back on the overtime, even though the money was good and we could always use more cash, and spent more time with her. It was about 5 years after that before her next affair. She had gotten a part-time job, working on the days I was at the station to help keep her mind off of it and to add some extra money to the family budget. She enjoyed her job and I was happy that she had found something productive to keep her occupied. But I didn't see the behind-the-scenes drama unfolding with her boss. Mr. Reynolds, Sarah's boss, was a pretty good-looking man, I suppose, and she did work fairly closely with him. So it shouldn't have been a surprise that something might occur. Still, she had promised after her first sidestep that it wouldn't happen again. This time when I learned of the affair, it wasn't through a confession from Sarah. Instead, it was from a little birdie named Rebecca, our neighbor from across the street. Rebecca seemed to have a little interest in me even though I had never been anything but polite to her, and one day as I was cutting the grass, Rebecca approached me. "James, can we talk for a minute?" she said. I had seen her coming over and had shut the lawnmower down so I could hear her. "Sure, Rebecca, what's up?" I asked. "Well, you know I don't like to get involved in other people's lives. This right here is a falsehood." Everyone on the block knew Rebecca was the neighborhood telegraph. "But we are friends and I think you need to know something," she said. Then Rebecca proceeded to tell me all about Sarah's latest interest and all that she had witnessed Sarah doing. Ordinarily, I would have just let the information go in one ear and out the other, but with Sarah's history and the details and specifics that Rebecca was rattling off, I knew that there was more to this story than just idle gossip. That night after dinner was finished, I confronted Sarah on the matter. "Sarah, it has come to my attention that you have been seeing your boss Mr. Reynolds for more than business matters. Is this true? And don't lie to me, I have already confirmed some of it," I said. Sarah looked at me like a child who got caught stealing a candy bar from the local grocery store. I. Who told you?" she stammered. "Never mind who told me, is it true?" I said firmly. Yes, it is." "Oh, James the First, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean for it to happen, it just did," she said, putting her hands in her face and sobbing. I was speechless. I couldn't believe she could have done this to me a second time. "I have to get out of here. I need to process this." "I'm sorry," I said. I packed a small suitcase and went to the station. I stayed there at the fire station for a week, trying to wrap my head around what had happened and trying to decide what to do about it. I didn't want to lose her, but I couldn't stand by and watch her affair everyone we knew either. I was really torn about what to do. Fortunately for me, I had a partner who was there for me. Mark was a fellow firefighter and my best friend in the whole world, aside from Sarah. I trusted the guy with my life, literally, and I knew if anyone could help me sort this all out, it would be him. He had gotten divorced because his ex cheated on him too, so I knew he could relate to my situation. After talking with Mark and listening carefully to his advice, I went back home to face Sarah. I hadn't talked to her since that night and hadn't accepted any calls from her. I needed separation to think things through. So she wasn't expecting me to come home that night. Seeing the woman who you have called your wife for the last 12 years affair another man unexpected effects on a man. And I know different guys will react in different ways, but when I caught my Sarah affair with Mr. Reynolds, an emotion ran through me that I was not prepared for. I went into the living room. I knew what she would do next. I turned my recliner so I would be facing them as they came into the living room from the hallway. I prepared myself for them, going over what I would say and do when they came out of their little den of iniquity. I wish I'd had a camera to capture the expression on their faces as they rounded the hallway corner and saw me calmly sitting there in my recliner, sipping on my drink, my .45 caliber pistol sitting on the small table next to me. "You should probably not be here," I said in a low voice as I looked at him. My eyes narrowed menacingly as I watched him. My attitude and appearance must have worked, because he couldn't leave fast enough. He didn't say a word, he just grabbed up his pants and shoes and left, figuring it was a lot safer to finish dressing down the street. "Oh James, I'm so sorry," she bleated after I'd scared her lover out of my house and out of a couple years of his life. "Please forgive me." I watched her twist and turn in her embarrassment as she tried everything she could to convince me she wasn't to blame this time. "It wasn't my fault," she lied, "it was his idea, he seduced me." "Don't make it worse by lying, Sarah. You are a bad woman, you know that. Can you think of one good reason why I shouldn't kick your sorry cheating ass out onto the streets where you belong?" I had never spoken to her in such a way and I think it scared her how angry I sounded. She dropped to her knees in front of me. "Oh, please James, no. I'll do anything. Please let me make it up to you," she said, pleadingly. I watched the false tears begin. I was under no misguided belief about her remorse. Sarah wasn't sorry she cheated, she was just sorry she got caught again. And her tears were those of concern what I might do because I caught her in the act. I looked down at her coldly as she knelt on the floor between my knees, her head in her hands and weeping her synthetic tears. I wanted to punish her more than this. She had cheated on me, lied to me, and then lied about the cheating. And like I said, this wasn't the first offense either. So I wanted to make sure she was properly chastened. I wanted to punish her more than this. She had cheated on me, lied to me, and then lied about the cheating. And like I said, this wasn't the first offense either. My heart is broken.